and Mayor Pro Tem Gary Anderson for their service to the residents of Monroe. It's been a privilege to work alongside these two individuals, and I certainly want to wish them well. Councilmember Jordan has served at Monroe City Council for roughly 32 years. His first meeting was December the 1st, 1987, and during that time, he helped lead many initiatives that have positioned Monroe to be in a great place as it is today. For your many years of service, Mr. Jordan, please accept my and this council's humble thanks for all you've done. Council members, and most recently, Mayor Pro Tem Gary Anderson has served the residents of Monroe faithfully since 2015 and has been a supporter of many of the projects we're seeing come to life today. Gary has selflessly given of his time and energy to the residents of Monroe, and we're grateful. For your service to the residents of Monroe, Mr. Anderson, please accept my and the council's humble thanks for all you've done. Mr. Anderson, would you like to say anything at this time, sir?
I'm good.
You're good.
Yes,
Okay.
sir.
Well, thank you very much to you, Mr. Anderson, and Mr. Jordan. Thank you for your service so much. We do appreciate all you've done over your period of time. I'd like to ask if you would make this a part of the permanent minutes, please. All right. Item number 1 will be Citizens Academy graduates. Ms. Reed. Excuse me.
Good evening, Mayor, Council. My name is Deborah Chestnut Reed, Director of Human Resources. Along with the Diversity Advisory Committee, we're excited tonight to introduce to you the 2019 graduating class of the Citizens Academy. The Citizens Academy, we spend 8 weeks together trying to find out the operation of the city and how it works. And these are citizens that are interested in what's going on. They get a chance to meet all the people who have, all the directors, all the workers. They know who to contact if they have any problems after this is all over with. And so we spend a quality time together, and I think we've gained meaningful relationships at the same time. So I'm going to be assisting the mayor because he's going to come up and we're going to hand out their graduation certificates.
I'll be happy to.
Thank you. Our first graduate is Laura Allen. Our own Timothy Broom. Yes, he did. Yes, he did. Joshua Cottle is not here tonight, so we'll hold his. Timothy Fassetti. Mr. Ronald Johnson. Francis Marshall. Donna Skirmer-Thorne. Ruth Sturdivant. And Ardale Williams. This is our distinguished class. We're excited about that, and there are a lot of graduates in this room that have graduated from the Citizens Academy, and they've come on to do big things. Our councilwoman, Mrs. Anthony, she's graduated from here, and I think I saw another graduate from our class. So, thank you all for your participation and being interested in what's going on with the city. I think somebody wants to take a picture.
Me.
And so, we're getting ready to go celebrate, so if you would turn around and please acknowledge the council behind you. Thank you. Our city manager.
Thank you. Thank you. How you doing? Thank you so much.
Congratulations. Congratulations, man. Glad to have you. Congratulations. 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 Congratulations.
Congratulations. Thank you. Tim? All right, I'm gonna check the test score tomorrow.
Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
If you know it all now, don't you?
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Again, absolutely, congratulations. Thank you for your participation. I don't have, I want to be sure, I didn't overlook it.
Mayor Kilgo,
I'm sorry?
Mayor Kilgo.
Yes.
I'd like to introduce a motion for us to explore the possibilities of doing 2 classes per year. It's such a great opportunity for citizens to
Oh, I
learn
don't-
about
yeah, it's a
city
Falcon.
and how we operate and how they can, be better citizens and
Yeah, no problem.
just explore the possibilities.
Staff can do it. Well, what we need to do, we can talk to Larry about it and let him see if the staff can do 2 a year. You can't teach them too much
That's true.
about the city.
The more people that know, the better we are.
All right.
Yeah, I have to leave it was a motion, it didn't go through.
Ma'am, I don't believe there was a second for the motion.
It was not.
There was
I
not,
don't
ma'am,
think
so it would
everybody-
fail for, ma'am?
I don't know if everyone heard it. I'm introducing the motion for us to explore the possibilities of having 2 Citizens Academy classes per year. If that's feasible, I think it's a great opportunity for citizens to have an opportunity to learn how the city operates, get firsthand knowledge, and just explore the opportunity and if it's feasible.
I'll second that.
I have a motion and a second. I think this is something Larry and the staff ought to take up and see if they have the time to do it, but we can go ahead. I have a motion and a second. Any more discussion?
All those,
All in favor? All right. All right. Item 2, proclamation recognition of Mr. Marsh. Ms. Anthony, would you read that, please?
can Mr. Marsh, Joshua Marsh, if you want to come up, please? Proclamation recognizing Joshua Marsh. Whereas Joshua Marsh is a proud 2019 graduate of Monroe High, and whereas Joshua Marsh ran track for 4 years at Monroe High School, and whereas Joshua Marsh broke a 38-year-old record in the 110 hurdles and a 29-year-old record in the 300 hurdles, and whereas Joshua Marsh was named a Rocky River Conference champion 3 years in a row, and whereas Joshua Marsh competed in the state finals 3 of his 4 years in high school, placing second in the 110 hurdles and third in the 300 hurdles, and whereas Joshua Marsh's dedication and commitment to his sport have brought honor to his family, his school, and his community. Now, therefore, I, Bobby G. Kilgore, by the virtue of the authority vested in me as mayor of the city of Monroe, do hereby proclaim Joshua Marsh a vital part of the city of Monroe community and encourage all citizens to express appreciation and support for his accomplishments. In witness whereof, I have hereunto set my hand and caused the seal of the city of Monroe to be affixed this 12th day of November 2019. Congratulations, Joshua.
Item 3, United States Union Senior Game State Finals, Ms. Edwards.
Good evening, Mayor, Council. Tonight, we're here to recognize our 2019 United Senior Games State Finals participants. North Carolina Senior Games is a nonprofit organization dedicated to providing year-round health promotion and education for adults 50 years of age and better. North Carolina Senior Games is sponsored statewide by the North Carolina Division of Aging and Adult Services. There are 52 local games that serve all 100 counties across the state of North Carolina each spring. In Union County, the local games are sponsored and administered by the City of Monroe's Parks and Recreation Department under the leadership of the Ellen Fitzgerald Senior Center staff and the United Senior Games Advisory Board. Senior Games participants compete locally and qualify by placing first, second, or third in these events and to represent Union County at the North Carolina State Finals held each year in the fall. We'd like to recognize and congratulate our 2019 North Carolina State Finals participants and thank them for representing United Senior Games and being an example of how a healthy and active lifestyle can lead to aging well. Unfortunately, tonight we were only able to have one participant with us due to unforeseen circumstances that came up. But I would like to recognize all of our participants and by calling their name in the events in which they represented us. And then we'll ask the participant here tonight to come forward and be recognized. Debbie Byram, pickleball doubles. Kathy Cooper, pickleball doubles. Janet Eford, pickleball doubles. Belinda Burgess Purcell, pickleball doubles and singles. Terry McBride, pickleball doubles. Allison Morris, pickleball doubles. Charles Sasser, cycling, 1 mile, 5K, and 10K. Rich Scalia, pickleball doubles. And Joe Weil, pickleball doubles and singles. Pickleball was a very popular sport. And with us tonight, we have Sonny Kleindienst, and I'd like to ask him to come forward. Sonny represented us in the Silver Arts portion of the state finals, and he was in the category of digital photography. And we appreciate his dedication to locally and to go to state finals to represent us. I'd also like to recognize tonight we have a few members of our steering committee, and I'd like to ask them just to stand to be recognized. We have Karen Norwood, Susan Didier, and I believe that's all the ones we have here tonight. I'll recognize the other members was Karen and Jill Ritter and Mary Lawwill. I also want to recognize our Senior Center staff that lead these games. Colleen Pusita is our Senior Center Supervisor, and Mary Blythe Chipman, our Assistant Senior Center Supervisor. Again, we thank you for giving us the opportunity to recognize these individuals.
I just want to say thank you to each and every one of them that participated and represented Monroe, not only here in Monroe itself, but on the state level. Each year we have several that goes down to Raleigh on state level and participate, and many of them brings back the silver and the gold and et cetera. So thanks to those folks who do that, and thank you for putting the program on. And sir, and thank you for coming tonight. We appreciate all you do and appreciate your participation, sir. Thank you very much. I understand we have a Troop 101, is that correct? Yes. Would you stand up for me? Usually what we do is ask each one to do about a 30-minute speech, but we can cut it to 20 minutes. Could y'all handle that? No, I just want to, who's the spokesman?
I can talk for
Sir, would you come, if you would come and give us your name and the troop and stuff for our record, we'd like to do it for the record.
Certainly.
And just tell us a little bit about your troop. We'll recognize you.
Okay, I appreciate that. So my name is Kevin Higgins. I represent Troop 101. We're out of Marvin, St. Margaret's Episcopal Church over in Marvin. We appreciate you allowing us to come and sit in on your council meeting this evening.
Glad to have you. Always welcome. Glad to have you anytime. And thank you for coming. Got a nice looking troop there. Good looking guys. Thank y'all for what you do. Thank you.
Thank you.
Item 4 on the agenda is the public comment period. I have several sign up to speak. I'd ask if you would to hold it to 3 minutes, please, so each one will have an opportunity. And I'm going to call them in the order they were signed. So the first one on the order is Mr. Edward Cook. At this time, sir. Yes, sir. If you would, your name and address for a record, please.
Yes, my name is Edward Cook. I live at 4621 Seacrest Shortcut Road in Monroe. And I have a couple concerns I want to bring up that I know that you're working on. One is concerning the urban sprawl within the Seacrest Shortcut and Fowler Seacrest community, rural community. There are several subdivisions proposed by MI subdivisions, builders that are deeply concerning us. At a community meeting sponsored by them we went to with one of your city engineers, he recommended that we go out to Waxhaw and look at a 12-year-old community that would be similar. I don't think he has been out there in a while because we did do that. And that both subdivisions we went and looked at, I would say the majority, if not all, had become rentals. We spoke to the previous mayor of Waxhaw, who was against that subdivision, both of them at the time, and for that reason that she could foresee the future of what that community would become. So we're concerned about that. We're concerned that the fact that they have proposed to tear down every single tree, some of them over 200-year-old oak trees, without any concern for the history of those trees. I'm not an environmental wacko. I'm just a practical person. They also want to take down every part of the woods instead of leaving that and making that the green area and creating new green areas, displacing I know of at least 3 owls and 1 eagle. So I'd like to know where they're going to go. There's a herd of deer. I know they will go, and I can understand that. But that concerns me deeply. I realize there's a moratorium of building in that area, is what I've been told. I wish that would continue. My number one concern is the traffic. I represent about 33 members, most of them family members, Seacrest, who are concerned about that because we live out there and the traffic is horrendous. Seacrest Shortcut, I've been told it's a state highway or state road, and there are many 16-wheelers that go up and down that road, even though they're not supposed to. And the speed limit is 45. We have one light, Rocky River Road, and 74. And it is just a raceway down there already. Where are the 250-plus homes with one of those subdivisions alone going? Where are those cars out of those, 104 homes? Where are those 250 cars going to go? Not to mention school buses and other activities up and down there, mail trucks and so forth. So I just want to put that out there. I realize December 6th, I think you're going to be discussing more about this, and we'll have our representative, more of our representatives there to talk about that. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Cook.
Mayor, for council's information, just so there's no confusion, you are not considering a building moratorium. What has been suggested is a request, I believe, for your planning board is looking at the process of dealing with a moratorium. However, those are pretty intensive in what they require. So the planning board has requested an opportunity to consider it and to whether or not they would make a recommendation to use the council on that issue. So when you've all heard the first words, building moratorium, and didn't know that you were considering it, you actually aren't yet. The planning board is thinking about it, talking about it. There is no moratorium in place, but there have also been issues related to projects when they've come before council for rezoning. So we want to make sure that it's absolutely clear that there is no moratorium in place. The planning board will be discussing the issue, but they will then make a determination whether or not they make a recommendation to you on that issue. And if any member of council wants to talk about the process involving moratorium, I'm happy to discuss that outside of this because it's a lengthy and long and involved process, to be honest.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Mr. John Thomason.
This is a little scary. Thank you. My name is John Thomason, 3301 Lexi Lane here in Monroe. Thank you for letting me present, and thank you for helping me get trees planted last winter. We're doing some more this month, which is going to be a good thing. What I'd like to talk about, though, is another way that we can work together to do something good for our environment. And I'd like to talk about allowing rooftop solar in our city here. I elected to put a system on our house. It's expensive. It's not going to pay for itself in my lifetime. But in its lifetime, it's going to keep about 100 tons of carbon dioxide from going up into our air. That's important to me. I think it should be important to all of us. The problem is, Monroe Electric doesn't like solar. They've told me that if we put a solar panel on our roof for our own use, just to make our homes more efficient, they'll cut off our power. The only way that they'll allow us to make and use power to make our homes better and more efficient is if we give all of the power we produce to Monroe Electric, for which they'll pay us 3 cents a kilowatt hour. Then we have to buy our own power back, and they'll pay us 12, or we pay them 12 cents a kilowatt hour. And to make matters even worse, we're going to pay sales tax on the power that we made and already paid sales tax on. That's just wrong. It's just wrong. Now, the city's argument is that if they allow people to create their own power, then those people aren't going to be paying their fair share of the cost of maintaining our grid. And that argument actually has some logic to it. But the theory and the reality often aren't the same thing. Why, if it costs 3 cents a kilowatt hour to maintain our grid, why are they charging us 9 cents a kilowatt hour? Furthermore, if you look at all of the potential harm that can come to the city's budget from me and people like me that would like to generate some of our own power just for our own use, and you look at the total amount that we can make, the impact on the city's budget is so minuscule that it's basically zero. And creating our power, because it's at peak times, peak time is when the sun's shining, actually helps the city's budget a little bit. So what I'd like to propose and offer is this. Let's fix the policy. Let's create a policy that is good for the environment. Let's create a policy that respects our private property rights. Let's create a policy that doesn't hurt the city's budget in any way. We can do that, and I'll help. I'm a good analyst. You can ask around. I work hard, and I think at the basis of things, we're all after the same thing. That's my offer. That's what I'd like to ask the council to consider. I'll help. I think we can get there. If you look at the numbers, we can. And I can show anybody the numbers, but not in 3 minutes.
Okay, thank you very much for that. And I'm certainly sure that's going to come up in some discussions right soon.
Mayor, I do want to note and thank the gentleman for his issues. This is a matter that I believe came before the Public Enterprise Committee already because of the issues related to our buy-all, sell-all arrangement. And it's something that is required, and we've actually, it's one of those things that we've informed the committee and can make sure if council hasn't been informed. And it's something that Electricities recommends to its member utilities. And of all the member utilities, I believe there's only one member utility in Electricities that does not do the buy-all, sell-all. So while the gentleman has raised concerns, what is important is that there are solid reasons for the policy. While other municipal utilities may do it differently, Electricities is recommended and the city has done. And David Lucor has, I think, written on that and provide that information, at least the Public Enterprise Committee. We can ensure that provide the staff, my staff to you, is that it is not quite what the gentleman is suggesting. It is one of these issues where it is important for the city to be able to utilize its system and to ensure that connections to it are governed accordingly, even when someone is using a solar power system. And so we've actually worked with the gentleman. The gentleman just is not pleased with our system.
Well,
Mayor,
I don't know about the council, but I would like to, at some point, have Mr. LaCour come and address the council if they want to hear it. I want to hear it if it's nothing but individually. But if the council would like to hear it, that'd be fine also. But yes, Lynn.
I'd like to know what our neighbors like Cabarrus County and in Salisbury and surrounding areas, how they're treating this same situation.
Yeah, that's what I want to know.
What I can tell you is that we believe that based on discussions with electricities, that every public power utility, except for I believe one in the state, is using the buy all, sell all program that Monroe uses as opposed to a net metering program. Duke Energy uses a net metering program, but they also have shareholders. But the electricity's public power utilities, except for I believe one across the state, so that would include if Concord is an electricity's utility, which I believe it is, they do it the same way we do.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes.
May I make a quick request?
Yes, sir.
I have no doubt that Electricities is driving this bus. What I would like to suggest is that Electricities has its own agenda that it's trying to fill. That is not necessarily the best policy for our citizens here in Monroe. And I'd like to respectfully ask that I can present some data as well that shows what our budget drives. Electricities will say that the wholesale cost of power is 3 cents a kilowatt hour. Our budget and our financial statements will show that this city is paying 8 cents a kilowatt hour. So I have no doubt that Electricities does not want to change their business model. But I would like to suggest that that business model is not the best thing for the people in Monroe. And that people who have signed up for buy all, sell all are doing it under duress. We've been given no option. If you want solar, you have to sign up for the city's policy. And that comes directly from Electricities.
No, actually, I'm sorry, that's not correct. The city made the decision. You as a council actually approved this years ago. So when this individual suggested Electricities is making the call, they make a recommendation. But like all the other member utilities of Electricities, the city makes the decision. And you as a council made this decision years ago. I just want to make sure that is absolutely clear for anyone watching when someone is looking at this on YouTube.
I'm sure that, thank you, I'm sure that the city did approve the policy. It has to.
It actually did. This is not a,
No, I'm
maybe
sure,
it did.
I'm sure.
It did.
I'm agreeing with you, I'm sure.
Facts matter.
Well, I would like to hear the full presentation from our folks, whether it be Mr. LaCour of the electrical or whoever wants to do it. I don't know how about what the council wants.
We can add to the strategic session if council so desires.
Yeah, I'd be interested here.
Likewise. Okay, if you will, please. We will.
Thank you.
We will listen to the higher ups. We're gonna discuss it. We'll look at it.
And thank you for listening to me.
Thank you
Very
so
much
much.
appreciate it.
Yes, sir. Thank you. All right, next is Ms. Loretta.
Good evening, everybody. I missed all of you. I'm just back from a vacation, so I'm having trouble clicking in. I have 3 concerns, and they all involve litter. When I got home, I understand there was a shootout on East Avenue. One home on this side of the road and one on that side. When I started Litter Busters, I was warned, don't go pick up litter on that section of road. It could be dangerous. Evidently, it's a lot of rental property. You don't know what's going on in those homes. And, you know, that's bothered me, but I've stuck to it. But it really bothers me when our adoption stops at Stafford and I'm looking right in the next block and there's so much litter that with very little effort I could get picked up. But I am afraid to go there. So
I'm not supposed to intercede in this, and I don't know 100% what I'm saying, but I know 95. I'm not so sure that those statistics are that bad on that particular section. That's just a short section there.
Oh, I know.
So I'm not so sure it's that bad. We have problems. You can have problems anywhere and everywhere, and I'm not trying to sweet coat this thing. I'm just saying, if you look at all in all, I don't think it's that bad in there, Miss Loretta.
what, the crime?
Yeah.
Oh, Well, the police department and I don't know who in the city in a position, I was not allowed to adopt that. We wanted to adopt all of Sutherland, all the way to 601 from Morgan Mill. And they stopped, they meaning solid waste, stopped our adoption right there at Stafford because they were concerned of us going on that section. Well, I don't want to spend any more time on that.
I
What I'm
understand,
asking,
and I'll allow you some time for what I took. I took some of your time. And, again, I
Oh,
don't
I
know.
know,
But
Mayor.
the crime rate is not that bad on that particular street.
Correct. We had one isolated incident.
what, is this so about the shootout?
That was one isolated incident, and those two were taken into custody. And they do not live there.
Okay, anyway, this is kind of in my backyard, and it is a litter buster, well, it ends, my litter buster adoption ends there because I've been warned. The other neighborhood that really bothers me, and again, I've been warned, don't go in there, Creekside and Morgan Mill.
Why don't you check with the police department if you want to get some information instead of getting it third hand out here to people that don't have the statistics. So you saying waste, somebody told you don't go down there?
Oh, yeah, the police told me don't go down
The
there.
police told you that?
Yes, yes. Anyway,
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, these two situations, all I'm asking is that every council member think about this seriously. And if you have any ideas about how I should start to address this, and you've already given me one, I guess I have to go right to maybe the police chief to talk about this. But I've had several officers tell me, don't go down Creekside, bad neighborhood. And it is highly littered, because I have driven down there.
Yeah.
Anyway, okay, the other thing is political signs. It dawned on me, and Mayor, this is from part of what you said.
I'm gonna allow a little bit on Kim. I took some of your time.
I'm out of time.
No, I told you I was gonna allow you a little bit. I took some of your time interacting with you.
Okay.
I'm gonna give you another
The
minute.
mayor said to me, would you put a sign in your yard? And he also said, it's my experience that a sign in a person's yard speaks louder than many more signs on the roadside. And I think he's correct about that. You look at the results of our election, and if you were to tally up all of the signs from each candidate that were out there on our roads, to me, they're eye litter. You know, it maybe brings a name forward in your mind and maybe influences the vote, but do we have a policy?
The state and city both has a policy,
The city
and the state has a policy.
and the state. Could the
30
city?
days, you can start putting them up 30 days before the election.
Yeah.
Need to be up 7 days after the election.
What about no signs on the street?
I don't think anybody ever would pass that. It's a
Is
political
it
matter.
possible?
No.
No? Who would have to pass it? The state?
The state would on state roads, yes.
On a state road?
Yes.
Could the city, and maybe Mujib, this is for you, could the city
I don't think.
consider something like that in our city, that signs are not placed? It's
Well, if they
it's
put them out
litter.
and if they put them out and then take them up like they're supposed to, it shouldn't be a problem. That's just my opinion.
Well, it shouldn't, but it is.
Well, and the ones who's
I'm
not.
no, Mayor, it's
okay.
not fair for me to take up this time. Please, anyone on the council who would like to contact me and speak about if there is a way to consider changing this, it's just a tradition. I don't think it serves the purpose that it's meant to serve. If people who support put the sign in their yard, I agree with the mayor. That speaks louder than any number of signs on the street corners. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. I gave her the extra time because I should not have been intermingling, but I did. I'm bad about that, but I'll give you extra time for that. Mr. Philippi, sir, your time.
Louis Philippi, 1102 Lakewood Drive, here in Monroe. Mr. Mayor, council members, you can relax a little bit. This is going to be an easy one. I moved here about 6 months ago, and I got to tell you, my wife and I love it here. As you can tell by my accent, I'm not normally a small town boy, but I am now, and I'm going to die here. I would never, ever go back to a big city. But what I'm here for is, when I got here, I put an application in to be on the Board of Adjustments for this town, and you people kindly put me on there, of which I have served on several, I think three or four meetings, and quite happily I enjoy doing it. I have experience. I worked on a county Board of Adjustment years ago, so I know how to do it, and I'm proud to serve my community. And I was going to come up here and thank you the very first meeting y'all had, except I also happen to sit on the planning board for Union County, and they have the same meeting schedule y'all have every month, except for this just turnabout here. So here I am. Thank you with all my heart. Thank you. I am living in a city. I love the city. My wife loves the city, and we expect to be here for the rest of the time I have to give. Now, it's been a happy thing I had to say, so I've got to bring up one criticism. On the Board of Adjustments, the policy is that alternates, if they're not seated to actually be in a voting position, are sent down to sit down there. And the reality of the matter is, as I see it, if you have an alternate, they need experience. They need to learn something. Well, I've been on boards all over the place. Every other board I've been on, you bring the alternates up there, they sit down, they participate, they question, whatever mistakes they make them, but they just can't vote. And I spoke to actually I looked at the rules. I spoke to the chairman of our board, and he said, that's the legal thing. So I talked to our lawyer. He said, that's the city council did that. So I don't know if y'all can pass it anywhere else, but truly, give it a thought or two. You bring somebody on as an alternate with the hope they'll stay for some time, and as they sit on that board and they learn how to do the job, they become more astute at what they're doing. They serve better. So bring them up there, teach them as they come in as young little trainees, and you'll have a better board. With that, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much. I love being here. I'm proud to be a citizen of Monroe. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Ms. King.
Michelle King, 802 East Franklin Street in Monroe, 28112. Mr. Philippi, we're glad that you're here. We need more people like you. Thank you. Just want to bring to council's attention a concern that was shared with me over the past, 6 months. I've had it for a number of years as it relates to the big trucks that are in our downtown on Franklin Street. I brought it to, Councilman Keziah's attention, a couple weeks ago. And I know that we have signage of no through trucks. Majority of those are on West Franklin rather than East Franklin. East is often forgotten about. Nonetheless, we're trying to promote a city where it's pedestrian friendly, it's walkable. Frankly, somebody's going to die if we cannot control speeds, but especially get trucks, 16-wheelers, 18-wheelers, big trucks off of our downtown roads. It is a concern of mine. It is a hazard. I know that there are a handful of businesses on Franklin that have to be there to deliver, but the fact is the majority do not. And I think we would all agree on that. So whatever means you have, and I think you are a powerful bunch of individuals, if you can look into this, figure out if we're going to have the signage, then there at 84 and coming into Franklin, then by all means let's adhere to it. If we're not going to abide by it and we're going to let these trucks fly through instead of using MLK and the other corridors that they should use to get around our town, then by all means let's take the signage down. So I'm here tonight to speak on behalf of myself, the citizens that live in the downtown area, on these streets that are affected, that have families, that are like to walk, that like to cycle. let's do something about these trucks. It would only take you a week to have somebody out there writing tickets, citations, telling people you can't come through here, read the signs, and word would get around. So thank you for your time. I appreciate you looking into this for me.
Thank you.
Mayor.
Thank you, Ms. King.
She has got a point, and there's several other streets. I know in the historical district, I was through there not long ago, and clearly the sign said no trucks, and there goes a truck. So that would be something worth bringing up. I don't know what department would that go, police department?
Public safety.
Public safety, that would be something.
I got this note.
One note, we would note that where it's state roads, the city's ability to regulate is a little limited, but we obviously have the ability to look at it from your city streets as opposed to state roads. But,
Can I say one thing with you?
yes, sir.
One reason we built Martin Luther King was
Yep.
to take the traffic out of downtown.
Exactly.
So, you know, got to think out the box. I know we've had a problem with farmers going through with these wide tractors that they take through, and we had to address that. So let's see if we can't come up with a solution to help on that some, because she's telling the truth.
You did.
We
But you saying that Franklin Street, we can't do anything on Franklin Street?
We have a when it's a state road, we have a limited ability to regulate. We can only enforce state law, and the state may have more. We haven't looked at this obviously, but when it's a state road, it does impact our ability to regulate. We can deal with violations of state statutes, assuming the state allows us to, but to place additional restrictions, the state may not allow us. So we'll be happy to look at that based on your discussions at the Public Safety Committee or any other council committee. So we're happy to look at it from there.
Okay, but if the signage is already there, that must suggest it's city.
It not necessarily, ma'am. There's possible that signage has been placed on streets that are actually state roads. I can't sit there and tell you that the signage is only on city streets without looking and seeing. But if there's, for example, a sign on Franklin, which is, I believe, a state road, the sign's on a state road as opposed to on a city street. But some other streets, I believe, like Carroll Street, for example, which has come up in some discussions, that's on a city street. So that would be one where we may have more ability. But on some of these other streets, we may be limited because of the state. But we'll be happy to look at that based on any discussions coming out of any of the committees.
So can we cite truckers that are in violation or no?
It depends on where it is. If it's a city street, yes. If it's a state road, it depends on what state law allows us. We haven't looked at this because it's just been put out there for us. We haven't had a chance to review it. We'll be happy to review it with police and with a police attorney and be able to report back to you.
Well, at the very least, can public safety find out where the signage is, and from that point, we determine whether or not it's city or state?
We can work with engineering on that, and because I think engineering's in charge of our signs, but we'll be happy to take a look at that and eventually report back to council.
Can you come back at the next meeting, or you need more time?
I think we'll need more time because it's, we're middle of November already, so the December meeting.
How about
will probably-
January?
Possibly in January, depending on the holidays. We'll talk with engineering and police. I'd look at the
Yeah, let's-
engineering director right there to say if he can give us an idea of the inventory of those signs in the city. I believe that engineering deals with those.
You know, we're talking
And
about.
if he nods, if he shakes his head, then I'm incorrect. Then we'll ask police to work on those.
Let's,
No, we're going. The city staff will be happy to handle that, ma'am. So
Let's put down our January meeting to
All right.
hear back on that.
Sounds good to me.
Okay. Is anyone else who would like to address, I see a hand come up to the podium, if you will, please.
Mayor and Council, my name's Jennifer Smith, and I live at 109 West Houston Street, and I have the same problem. The no truck signs have been up for 12 years. These 18-wheelers come through Houston to go to Food Lion, and I bet there are 12 to 15 come through a day. Last year, they even took out the four-way red stoplight that hung up on the back of the tractor trailer and actually took it out. They don't stop at the four-way stop sign. They run it every time to get to the next light to turn onto Hain. And we've had, I mean, it's just ongoing every single day. I've even taken pictures of their license plates about 4 or 5 years ago, and I was told, well, we can't hand out tickets or do anything with that. We would actually have to have the police to see them and ticket them. I don't know if cameras would be possible to be put up at some of these areas, and then, you know, if they were sent to the company, maybe they would stop it. The drivers don't care. And it is a huge detriment to the city. It really is, to be sitting out on your front porch and an 18-wheeler come blasting through
Yes.
a four-way stop sign and doesn't even stop.
We'll add that right to.
And they are tearing up the streets. You were right.
The sidewalks.
Yeah.
We can make life miserable for them.
You know, well, that's something we can address, and it needs to be addressed. I agree with you, and we will address it.
Thank you all.
We need to look at that. Thank you very much. Is anyone else here who would like to address the council? If not, we'll go to the consent agenda. Larry, we'll go to the consent agenda at this time.
Thank you, Mayor. Members of the City Council uses a consent agenda to consider items that are non-controversial and routine. Consent agenda is acted upon by one motion and vote of the council. Items may be removed from the consent agenda and placed on the regular agenda at the request of a council member or citizen with the consent of council. The consent agenda contains the following items. Item 5 is for the purpose of approving a budget ordinance that transfers project funds from the project involving Quail and Oak Hill Drive improvements to a project fund for storm drain improvements that would allow work on these proposed streets and areas. 200 block of West Pfeiffer Street, 3101 Patriot Drive, and 3004 Duck Point Drive. Item 6 is for the purpose of approving the city's participation in the amount of $50,000 for improvements proposed at the intersection of Rocky River Road and Weddington Road to address traffic congestion. A formal municipal agreement will be brought forward to you at a future date once provided by NCDOT. Item 7 involves minutes and reports loaded A through H. Item 7A involves disbursements from City Council's discretionary fund. There are 3 sets of disbursements. The first of which was Mayor Pro Tem Anderson dispersed $150 to Litter Busters of Union County. Councilmember Anthony made 2 disbursements, both to Union County Chamber of Commerce in the amount of $15 and $25. And Councilmember Lynn Kazai dispersed $2,200 to Union County Playmakers. Item 7B involves financial reports. As a summary, I'll highlight several fund balance amounts. As of October 1st, total fund balance is $33,447,000 and change. 2 subsets of total fund balance are fund balance reserved by policy, which is $10,681,100. Unassigned general fund balance is $4.9 million. Total assigned fund balance is $639,652. There are 7 sets of minutes lettered 7C through J, or G, excuse me, C through G. Item H, a summary of contracts awarded, change orders approved, and city manager's settlement of claims. There are 51 contracts for the period that total a little more than $509,000. And there were 4 sets of claims settled during the period. 3 involved vehicular accidents that resulted in property damage in 2 situations and personal injury in the 3rd, each settled for $1,700 or less. The 4th involved a housing demolition involving Ms. Cortez, for which the city accepted $2,000 towards a lien resolving all potential claims. Item 8 is for the purpose of amending Schedule 1B, speed limits to reduce the speed limit on Camellia Drive and Sowell Street from 35 miles per hour to 25 miles per hour. And item 9 is for the purpose of approving tax releases for the month of September 2019 in the amount of $2,861.06 that was created by a change or reduction in value for the city of Monroe by the Union County Tax Assessor. Mayor, members of the City Council, this concludes my synopsis of items placed on your consent agenda.
Move to accept the consent agenda.
Second.
I have a motion, second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor? Any opposed? Hearing none, that passed. Okay, we'll go into the regular agenda at this time. Item 10, the Center Theater. Mr. Bourne?
Good evening. I'm requesting that council consider and approve change order number 7 related to the construction of the Center Theater. Our Clearscape Architects and J.M. Cope, our contractor, have requested approval of change order 7, and this is related to the renovation and addition of the Center Theater. The change order entails a permanent basement dehumidification system and drainage in the amount of $121,024.64. Total amount of the change order in that amount is requested in accordance with R 2076 of the City of Monroe. City Council is required to authorize all change orders exceeding $50,000. This will bring the total contract amount for construction to $5,828,089.45.
Is this the one that has to do with the moisture coming from the basement?
Yes. In the original construction design, there were, I think, 4 sump pumps planned for that base area, but that really isn't sufficient, we've found. As we've moved on, a permanent system is required before we install the maple floors in the lobby. Without this, they won't install them, and there will be no guarantee. So it's to bring that humidity down, so that, and we just need a permanent system for it.
So the sump punctures won't be necessary now?
No, the sump pumps and this system are needed. The sump pumps, when the water comes in, they'll pull it and take it out, and then the dehumidification dries up the air and the moisture down there.
They're doing a good job on the Center Theater.
They are. It's coming along great. Like any construction, though, you always run into stuff you weren't anticipating, whether it's new or renovation. So my request tonight is that council recommend, first of all, change order number 7, and that the capital budget ordinance 2019-20 be approved, and that you authorize the city manager to execute the documents.
Make a motion to approve change order number 7.
Second. Have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed?
Council action only if change order approved. Motion to adopt capital project budget ordinance.
Second.
Motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
And city manager to execute documents.
Okay, have a second on that?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay.
Thank you.
Let's see, do we need the last one there too, Majid?
Closed session? Yes, sir.
Motion to authorize city
I've got
manager.
something though before closed session.
I'm sorry, you actually were saying something, I don't have the agenda in front of me. So you had, I think you had after the budget amendment, what was the,
I'll go ahead. Motion to authorize city manager to execute any and all necessary documents.
that would be correct.
All right, have a motion for the manager to execute the documents. Second?
Second.
All in favor? Any opposed? Hearing none, okay. And Mr. Anderson, we
Mayor,
recognize you.
with the Thanksgiving holidays coming up, I'd like to make a motion that we give the employees an extra day off for Thanksgiving.
Wednesday,
second
Thursday,
that.
Friday, right?
Wednesday, Thursday, Friday.
Second.
I have a motion and a second on Mr. Anderson's, any discussion?
Yes, is there any way that we can make this permanent, that we give them Wednesday?
Do what now?
Is there any way that we can make this a permanent so we don't have to make a motion
Well-
every year to do this?
Well, there's several ways you can look at it. Certainly, it's pretty much set permanent already on the holidays that the city gets. In other words, it's already permanent how many days you get for Christmas, depending on when Christmas falls, of course. But you get Christmas Day, and of course you get Thanksgiving Day, and that's already set in record.
Right.
The extra day is what he's talking about.
Right, and I'm asking, can we add the extra day?
Well, that's up to the council. I don't think it'd be wise to make it permanent, from now on and ever, amen. I think it's something I would like to look at every year. I don't have a problem giving them an extra day, but I don't think we'll just make it a permanent record. That's my opinion. That's what we're here to discuss. We're still in the discussion stages.
Well, I mean, I think we've done it for a while, and I think it gives an opportunity for people to be able to travel on Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
You know,
And make plans ahead of time.
I'm sorry.
and they can make plans ahead of time before the holiday. So,
Well,
I move we make Thanksgiving and Christmas 3 days.
I'm fine with that.
all right. Have a motion, have a second?
Second.
All in favor? Okay. Now we're ready for closed session.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, sir.
can I just make one comment before we go in that also?
Yes, sir.
I want to thank Pete Havanek and his staff, Public Safety. They spent untold hours getting ready for this air show, and all those that prayed for good weather, that we thank y'all also. I've never seen a helicopter fly upside down, and if you miss this air show, next year, make it a point to be there. It really is a 50 to 70,000 people there, so my hat's off to all you guys that work those long hours.
Absolutely, good job.
Hey, Marion, you want to fly in that helicopter?
Couldn't I? No, I was trying to get away from it.
All right, ready to go in closed session. Somebody make a motion.
I move to go into closed session pursuant to North Carolina General Statute, Section 143-318.1, 1A, 1 and A3 to prevent the disclosure of information that is privileged or confidential pursuant to the law of this state or of the United States, or not considered a public record within the meaning of Chapter 132 of the General Statutes, to preserve the attorney-client privilege between the city's attorneys and the city council, and to consider and give instruction to the city's attorneys concerning the handling of judicial actions, specifically in the cases of Eastwood Construction, LLC, and Eastwood Construction, LLC, doing business as Eastwood Homes versus the City of Monroe, and the estate of Donald Allen Plower Sr. and Donald Allen Plower Jr. versus City of Monroe.
I have a motion, I have a second.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. All right, we're going in closed session at this time.